Progress in many areas of space.
Butthead! Come here, quick! Bare ass on TV!
Pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right.
You're damn right I'm right. I can't remember a time I was wrong.
So my dad watches random stuff on the streaming service Cluster Truck we got going on, browse from service to service, Most of the time he just watches the thing on the front page, which is a good strategy to find decent things on there, in my opinion. And one day, he found this movie about a kid who was a film nerd. Later, it was emphasized that he was a sci-fi film nerd, and I'm pretty sure I saw this.
Anyway, in Steven Spielberg's first movie, Duel, this guy's being chased by this old diesel fuel truck he cut off on the highway. And this truck is like, the unstoppable ghost truck from hell. A truck that's been on the highway since the beginning of time and always will be. And every time this guy thinks he's gotten away from the thing, wham! It's right there behind him. Or, in the case of this one shot, in front of him, waiting. And the way Steven Spielberg shoots it, he doesn't just have a dorky close-up of the guy going, whoa, to his POV of the truck in the road, to another shot of the guy reacting.
Oh, of course not.
No. Spielberg has this car racing up the highway in a long shot, and suddenly the car slams on its brakes, and wham! The camera pulls back to reveal the underside of this dark, oily, smelly, rumbling, smoldering, mechanical monster waiting for him. Could you get Hooper's torso? So the car hitting its brakes is the reaction shot. The squeal of the car's tires is the main character's scream of terror.
I still don't get how you think you can get away with making a Jaws 2. I mean, at the end of Jaws 1, the shark's nothing but red mist and bone meal.
No. Not if it's like the truck in Duel. Not if it's a shark that's been swimming the ocean since the beginning of time and always will be. The primordial carnivore instinct made manifest by its insatiable desire to feed.
What the hell are you talking
And I was like, yo, that is just like my friend Murray. So I watched a little bit of it there, and then I asked for the title. 5/25/77. And I was really confused, so he said, yeah, it's the release date of Star Wars. So, about 3/4 of a year later, I actually watched the dang thing, and I have to tell you, this should be more popular for how cool of a movie it is.
Do you want to see my model shop? Did you know that the mechanical shark in Jaws is named Bruce after Steven Spielberg's lawyer? Can you believe I'm still a virgin?
Okay, this is Pat Johnson. What he's watching right now is 2001: A Space Odyssey. So I watched that movie.
Whoa, hey.
That thing's like 2 hours, by the way. The consensus I can give you is that there's 2 touchstones, the Monolith and HAL 9000. Okay, HAL, I mean, everybody knows about this guy because it was produced in the 60s, and it was one of the first instances of a evil computer concept in film, not in writing. According to ChatGPT, the first instance of an evil computer concept was in 1899 in the book Maxon's Master, in which a chess machine goes rogue and threatens its creator. This reminds me of a book I heard from my grandpa about a dude in a submarine 20,000 leagues under the sea, which had something to do with nuclear energy, but in a weird way, because it was published in 1870, and they didn't know what that was, so they had this weird concept of electricity implanted in a submarine. I haven't actually read that, you see, as it takes much longer to read a book as to watch a 2-hour movie, so... Now, the monolith concept, on the other hand, this is pretty confusing. My interpretation has the context of the mechanic of the monolith in Spore, which if you plot down it on a place with animals or tribes or civilization, they will progress quicker into the space stage. Now combine that with the 2 times someone touches the monolith in the movie. 1, the monkey touches it and gains the idea of tool use and then uses it to beat a monkey to death, you know. This guy does it, and the way I see it is that he sees God and gains God's knowledge and becomes a spirit apparition, which I think is the greatest form of life.
Has the jury reached a verdict? No, we have not. For we have evolved to a higher state of consciousness. In the grand scheme, all physical beings are but yokels. Now, settle your petty squabbles and get the hell out.
That'll be $10,000.
So the practical use of the monolith is like what it is in Spore. You touch it, and your intellect multiplies by 2, but the philosophical meaning of the monolith is...
Did you understand the ending?
Of course. Did you? Let me guess. You're a hand grenade and I just pulled the pin.
Okay then. What the hell is the ending supposed to mean? Guy flies a spaceship into a hotel room, gets old, drops his wine glass, and turns into a giant baby floating over the Earth? What the hell is that?
The hotel room was designed by the alien intelligences observing Dave Bowman to approximate his natural habitat. The aliens wanted to know if Dave could try to figure out how to take the next step in human evolution, but he can't. He doesn't know what they want from him.
Neither does the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Because Dave represents the audience, and like the audience, he's not ready to see beyond what he expects to see. So with each moment of missed opportunity to evolve, he gets older. His years passing before him in the blink of an eye, or in this case, the changing of a camera angle, till finally, maybe just as the answer to the riddle is finally within his grasp, he's too old to reach out and touch the monolith and receive his final gift of enlightenment. So the aliens send him back to the evolutionary cradle to start all over again.
No, they don't. They send him back as a giant baby floating over the Earth.
It's called symbolism, Phil.
And that, in itself, is touchstone 1 of this movie. Now, I like to have the idea that ever since we were monkeys, every passing generation, we have to play catch-up of what the generation before us has learned and, you know, practiced. We have to learn how to start a fire, that becomes outdated, and we have to learn how to herd cows, and that becomes outdated, and we have to learn how to build a house, how to run a factory machine, how to run the factory, how to ensure the economy's trough on the business scale doesn't entail people dying of starvation, you know, how to build an engine. What the hell is a neural network? You get the idea. Now you consider this guy, he's viewed who knows how many weird sci-fi movies with complicated elements in them, just like 2001: A Space Odyssey, but since it's him being written by himself, it's sort of a weird feedback loop, which results in things like this.
What are you idiots doing? Practicing our pickup routine for parties. If one of us spots a girl we want to meet, the other one picks a fight and pretends to beat the crap out of the guy that wants the girl. Then the girl comes over and makes sure the guy who got beat up is all right, and gets him some ice and offers to drive him to the hospital and
finds out he's a lying, cheating ass and hits him with a shovel.
Oh.
Only you would think this could work.
Oh man, I think you're gonna hurl. Today's lesson, never mess with the alpha male.
Oh, are you okay, Patty?
Did he just say alpha male?
Somebody get him some ice!
See, it does work.
Being more complicated than it actually is. It's pretty cool. Was this an actual thing that happened as a life event, or was it, I don't know, foreshadowing for this bully character? Was it foreshadowing for how Pat was gonna be in the future? Was it foreshadowing at all? Was it meant to just be a little stroke on the painting that no one else was meant to see? Who knows? That's what happens when you make pieces of media that are about life stories. You have these little things, and they make me wonder, what is the theme here, you know? Like, I only figured out what To Kill a Bird's message was until I looked it up.
Will the defendant please rise and face the jury?
We find the defendant guilty as charged.
The reason I came back to this movie when I did is because I needed this clip.
Steven Spielberg? Who the hell is Steven Spielberg?
You're kidding, right?
And I brought up Steven Spielberg in a promo for the film club at my school. So I was going to use him as a video element while I talk about how you could be the next Steven Spielberg if you join our club. But a lot like me never reaching state in StarCraft 2 esports, Film Club died because the leader of it had other stuff going on. So now I just own the movie and I'm making this video on this channel. And no Film Club.
Now taste this. Whole different thing, right? Sweet, crisp, slight tang on the finish.
Okay.
Now, try them together. Now, imagine every great taste in the world being combined into infinite combinations of tastes that no one has tried yet. Discoveries to be made.
Patrick, when you dragged your box spring mattress out into the woods so your German snipers could fall out of the trees without getting killed, what did I say?
You said, Patrick, you said that you would always support whatever road I chose to follow as long as I was willing to pay the toll. And I always have been. Mom, the shark attack had to look like it was taking place out at sea, at night. We couldn't take the shark out to Lake Michigan past the waves or it'd be too deep to operate. Plus, we had to shoot it day for night because I don't have any decent lights and we couldn't use them on the water without electrocuting Bill anyway. So, the perfect solution was to shoot it in an insert tank.
It's a swimming pool!
If you want to take a non-grandiose scope of Pat's character as a whole, I think the reason he's interesting is because of the fact he's so sucked in to another way of thinking that's kind of beyond this world, that when the rest of the world gets in his way, and he just bounces back up again, it's endearing. You know, take the scene I just showed you where Pat's mom gets pissed after he, screws up her pool.
And I'm not paying for another pool filter.
Take the scene I showed you before with the jock and the chick whose name is Robin.
Finds out he's a
This
lying,
one.
cheating ass and
And also this scene where Pat and Bill are in their car and they're talking to this guy who's man, he looks pissed, don't he?
Cool now.
How did you get him to calm down?
I told him who you were.
And who am I?
My boyfriend.
Romance. Gotta love it. Gotta hate it, man. When this is first brought up, it's with Robin.
I'm the amazing Alfredo, ladies and gentlemen. Step right up. I'll guess your age. Your way. Go on,
Something up with you and Robin? What?
But that doesn't happen because the plot actually says
Well, if you
what
guys
I'm
are
about to
broken up
say.
for good, then why not?
because you're a goofy boy. Get out. Get out.
Then this happens. But then we meet Linda. Okay, she's pretty cool, you know. She read the 2001: A Space Odyssey novel, except not really.
Trey. God, I love this book. Sorry.
Anybody who isn't Pat or Bill isn't said by name too often, so in case you forget this information, this is Robin. This is Linda. And this is Tony, who's Linda's friend, alright? Tony is where the movie just starts to crack. Anytime he's involved, it just starts to break, okay? Because there's this scene where Pat and Tony are fighting because Linda's on the fence about whether or not she should date Pat or Tony. Because Pat, he's cool, because, you know, he looked at her coolly, but
You don't need to hold it hostage.
I don't trust him.
Not me.
I'm not gonna stop you.
Tony doesn't look at me the way you do.
You couldn't stop rain from hitting the ground.
Tony's also, like, successful.
Yeah,
So,
I'll tell you what. I'll try to gain weight. You try to gain intelligence.
but that's not the main theme. The main theme in this movie, that isn't actually just his life story about becoming a filmmaker, is hobbyism versus relationships. Fitting in. When everybody says fitting in, I think it's nonsense, because usually, at least in this thing, hobbyism usually gets you friends. It doesn't take away your ability to connect with people.
Let's talk about what you guys personally geek out about.
I mean, the easy answer is Warhammer 40,000. That is my jam. I have been into it since I was 10.
What's your army at the moment?
Custodes. Yeah.
I'm going Necrons next year.
Necrons? Okay. All right. Cool.
Were you into...
Yes. Hobbyism is time not spent talking to people en masse. It's application to other factors that aren't the lowest common denominator. That claim's just bad. I think it's a fun literary tool, but all honesty, if you wanted to bond with people, it would be easier to bond with them using a topic or a hobby. I couldn't think of a scenario where it would be harder to connect with somebody with a hobby, but in this movie, that conflict is shown with two scenes.
Tony doesn't look at me the way you do.
It's an epic of heroes, villains, aliens from 1,000 worlds, and it's coming to your galaxy this summer.
This is really hard to, like, actually find out in the movie unless you've seen this multiple times. Any time this type of relationship happens in art, I think it's pretty good indication that this is good art, you know? Something that can last a long time. Just like in classic Renaissance paintings, you have the same thing in those. It's just people go hard in the paint in the literal sense, and then they have like a million things to focus both insight-wise and philosophical-wise as well. So it's good marks for art. Is that what should grade art? I mean, that would make sense.
How does it end? How does it end?
You know, my goblin buddy, that's a great question. So the whole reason this movie has the connection to Star Wars' release date is because Pat's whole stick of the rest of the world getting in his way of him being a sci-fi film nerd was passed as a solution in front of him when he went to Hollywood, and he tried to, you know, get network connections into Hollywood, but that didn't really work out because he just got starstruck. So instead, he saw the movie production of Star Wars going into effect.
That's Luke, his droid C-3PO, and that's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wait, that's the Bionic Man action figure.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
Pat's thoughts are that if Star Wars, which is the coolest thing ever, would just come out in his little town, he would be absolved of being a weirdo, and suddenly life would get much more better, you know? Sounds like something I would come up.
Come on, guys, we gotta go. Star Wars.
So, does the movie release?
Why is that up there? Why is what up where? That's not what's playing here. Yes, it is. Todd. Okay.
I know you're most likely messing with me right now, and
It's funny. It really is. And any other day, I would laugh at it. I would find it
thoroughly amusing. This is the thing. I just want
to tell me that Star Wars is playing here. And then
we can just, be friends after that, and
just want you to be honest with me now. Please, buddy. Todd, I love you.
come on. Just tell me, what's playing here?
Star Wars, right? Star Wars? Star Wars? Yes! Yes! Star Wars! Okay, you know what? Look. Star Wars! Star Wars!
Starts today! Today! At theaters everywhere!
Theaters everywhere!
It's not playing here, Jude.
But of course, that's not really how it ends, right? So, you should go watch this movie because it's pretty good, but if you don't want to, I guess that's something you can do. It's like, I think Planescape Torment is one of the greatest games ever made, even though it's a book more than it is a game, because it's just D&D, the game. It's like Baldur's Gate, but it was made in the 90s, so it's not even like good Baldur's Gate. I love life stories, okay? Ever since I was a kid, I would just read biographies made by Who Was HQ, because I loved people's life stories, okay? I like green texts, not because they're made by a bunch of raving lunatics, and that's amusing. No, I liked it because the way it was introduced to me is that people were telling stories that were critical to their lives. The guy who hacked his school and, got revenge for one of his friends because he got sent to detention for a bad reason, or the guy who was a court order person because of his job and he had to see all these people's, issues with the law, and, many more. And this is one of those things, okay? Because, regular fiction stories, they can tell you a lot about the world and life lessons, but they have to be manufactured. Life stories are people writing what they know, writing the things that are really important to them, and that is gold, because that is actually useful information you can apply to yourself. That is like the textbook reason on why humans as a whole like reading, hearing, and watching stories. To, learn in a bit of a cosmic sense, because it's not actually practically learning, it's literary learning about life. It's like from Square Zero. So, there.